Κεντρικό στοίχημα του Πρωθυπουργού της Ελλάδας Γιώργου Παπανδρέου είναι να κάνει την Ελλάδα τη Δανία του Νότου. Να όμως που δύο επιχειρηματίες από τη Δανία έτρεξαν πιο γρήγορα από αυτόν. Μιλάμε για τους κύριους Lars Sears Christensen και Kim Fournet, τους οποίους και φιλοξενούμε στο πρώτο market leader της εφετινής περίοδου. First of all, I would like to welcome you in Greece, and of course I want to know which is the reason for you to come here in Athens.
Well, I mean, we're here to see our office. It's now approximately a year old. It's doing very well, despite the volatility in the local markets. And you know, it's always important for us to come and see what's happening in the various offices.
So let's start from the beginning. I'd like to know more details about your business profile and how you began your activities in the 80s and now you made Saxo Bank.
I think clearly both Kim and myself had jobs in the financial sector during the 80s, but we actually started what has now become Saxo Bank in 92. And this was of course a wish to have our own business, but also some visions about could we do things in a different way, perhaps in a better and more efficient way than what we had seen in other financial institutions. As I think with all businesses, it's a question of developing organically. Sometimes you do some things right, sometimes you do some things wrong, but over time we found that delivering financial services through the internet, through an electronic platform, was the most efficient way for the future. And we were fortunate enough, I think, to identify this at a relatively early stage in the mid-90s. So we also got a good early start compared to many of the bigger financial institutions. Over the years, we have developed, brought more products, brought more services, brought even more competitive pricing, and continue to build our own client base. But also we found out in the early zeros, just in the beginning of the millennium, that maybe this platform had value for other financial institutions. So today, a very important part of our business is also supplying the technology as infrastructure to other banks and other brokers. So we have like two areas: direct business, where people use our platform as direct clients of Saxo Bank, and another area very important for us where other financial institutions use our platform. I think we both had a little unusual direction in our lives in that we didn't start out immediately after school with being in the financial sector. Personally, I was in other business areas, in the restaurant business for a few years, but after when I was like 23, 25, I realized that where I really wanted to be was financial markets, and I went to London. I had a number of jobs with financial institutions in London, and after 6 or 7 years, having also gotten to know Kim, we agreed that we would try to make our own financial institution. So I think it's a little unorthodox way that we got there. It's a very autodidact way. You know, we have probably taught most of what we know by doing it rather than a long banking education. But in the end, I think the entrepreneur spirit is what's driven us to try to look at this with different eyes. Yeah.
And what about you, Mr. Fournet?
Well, I initially started studying as a mechanical engineer, civil engineer, and you know, I have a lot of interest in engineering. I didn't have that much fun doing those studies though, and I got a part-time job in the financial sector, and I worked there for 4 or 5 years before we started up. So that was again autodidact. Didn't start as a trainee in a bank, and I think actually that probably has been a great help for us going forward, that we didn't have the traditional banking angle to the industry. We always been thinking a little bit maybe more out of the box than other people, thinking about how we can improve stuff. We've always been very focused on trying to deliver the best transparency, product, price and service, and I think that has been paramount in developing Saxo Bank over the years. So also the history of Saxo Bank, when it started up, Lars and I got to know each other in the business, but obviously before we started the company. And when we started in September 1992, we had a very simple, basic model. We only had $100,000 US in capital, and we started Lars worked in London back then. We started up only being 2 people, and we've basically grown the business organically since then. So it's not very traditional way of starting up a new bank.
Which are your main shareholders, and also would like to know about your activities in other countries except Greece, of course.
Okay. Well, I think first of all it's important to understand what it is we do, because we are not like a traditional bank, and I think that's of course the way we believe we should run our business. We see it very much as a strength because traditional banks have had a lot of troubles lately on a global level. We in reality see ourselves as a facilitator. We heavily rely on technology. We have more than 500 IT people employed to develop our platform. We started that development in the mid-90s, and we've basically accelerated the efforts since then, and we're still doing that. The whole idea about our platform and the business model is really to give savers, investors and traders the best possible online tool to access global capital markets. Now that means both equity markets, CFD markets, foreign exchange markets, commodity markets, fixed income markets, basically any capital market of relevance in any geography of relevance. And to develop and put all of that into one platform and distribute that globally in 24 languages is a pretty unique proposition. It takes a lot of effort. It also means that it's very important, apart from having the infrastructure and the technology, also to have local presences. So we've set up offices now in 17 countries. We have, I'm not going to mention them all. We have quite a few in Europe, but Switzerland, UK, we are in Australia, we're in Japan, we are in Singapore. We just started up in Hong Kong. So we are many places. We're not in the US. We don't plan to go in the US anytime soon either. We just started up in South America. We see big potential growth there. But in reality, we think that what we offer clients and investors is a very unique proposition where they get a transparency that has not been in the marketplace before, where we believe that if we can compete on product, price and service, we will also gain market momentum. And historically that's been the case. We've been quite fortunate in growing the business with decent growth rates. We also have a very good business here in Greece, and the idea is really that because we have the technology we can set up relatively light organizations many places in the world without too many infrastructural cost items, and that actually has allowed us to expand quite rapidly on a geographical level. So really what we try to focus at is to engage people with savings, money to invest, money to trade, and then to offer them the best possible tool in the global marketplace.
Saxo Bank was prized a lot of times, and we'd like to know more about your business achievements.
Well, of course Kim and I think that it's the best platform in the world, but then again we may not be entirely objective, so it's always nice to see that other people recognize the achievements that the company has had, and it is true that since 03 around then we have received a number of prizes in different areas. I think some of the ones we are most proud of is that we have I think for the last 4 years we've been named the best bank in the world for FX investors. That's obviously a very big achievement, and particularly doing it year after year in the FX Week survey, which is probably the most authoritative survey in the world. We have had a number of awards for our white labeling services, i.e. where we provide the infrastructure to other financial institutions, and of course, as that is very important for us, also there being recognized in different surveys as the best in the world has been very pleasing. And apart from that, I'm proud to say that I think we do provide a very consistent and a very competitive pricing, and we have been awarded a number of prizes for, you know, the consistency that you always get a prize, the efficiency in STP, in FX options. We have received prizes over the years. So by and large, there's been a lot of recognition, and of course, as I said to start out with, that is probably more convincing than us just saying it. So in a sense, we of course proud of them, but it's also useful for us to demonstrate to our clients that we have qualities in these areas.
You are specified in online banking. Why you have chosen this area of interest?
Well, first of all, we believe that any business is about, I mentioned that before, whether you can compete in product, price and service. And banking traditionally, especially trading in capital markets, have basically been a manual procedure where you had the client on the telephone, you quoted a price, you put it down on paper, put it into a machine, you send a letter, and that is not a very efficient process, and it doesn't create any value. So we thought that if you could deliver and develop something that on your computer screen would give you transparent access to global markets, would give you tools to analyze the markets, risk management, education, news, charts, everything, that could transform the industry. Because it's clearly a much better service than you give nothing and then you just have a telephone. It also means that you have a much more scalable business. It will obviously be cheaper per transaction, and the error rate will come down because humans do mistakes, as we all know. So we thought that actually the financial business is probably one of the best businesses to put on the internet at all, because it's information, it's not physical stuff, it's really you trade information. We thought a lot about that back in the mid-90s when we began hearing about the internet. And we thought that could be a very good platform for Saxo Bank to develop, simply to have something that was unique on a computer screen. If we could do something really nice, we could do something that was as nice or nicer than the biggest banks and the biggest brains in our industry. And of course that will continue to be a challenge every single day, but we believe that already now online banking and I'm talking about the trading the capital markets has changed the marketplace significantly, and we think it's only going to change more. I mean, there's still many banks that trade most capital market products manually on a phone or something, or it's single product platforms. And we believe that in the future you would have to be able to get access and trade any macro cycle in the economy, no matter what happens in equities or oil prices or gold or fixed income products or currencies or whatever. We believe that the modern investor would want to have access to all of that. So that's really the rationale behind moving in that direction.